Who are your 2025 MLB Award prediction winners? I'll tell you mine. Just stick around for the rest of the video. Let's get into it. So, with the Major League Baseball season just about a week old as we're recording this on Wednesday, April 2nd, I want to go ahead and make my predictions for baseball's 2025 winners. And I'll start with a caveat that I tried to pick some dark horses because it would be quite annoying to see Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani take it again. But it could very well happen for obvious reasons. But let's jump into my predictions. I am just predicting the MVP, the Cy Young, the Manager of the Year, and the Rookie of the Year right now. Maybe I'll do a separate episode about predicting Gold Gloves. I don't know. Those things are hard. Those things are a little harder to predict. But let's jump in and start with the MVP. Look, I just said it. It does get pretty boring to see the same people win the same awards year in and year out. And so I tried to do my best to pick other options just to make it interesting. But I was racking my brain in the American League, and I just could not make an argument for anyone other than Aaron Judge. Early in he has his playoff struggles, but this is not a playoff award. He's, over his career, become a better and better hitter. He's striking out less, hitting for a higher average. He's obviously put up huge home run numbers. He already has a 3 home run game this season. And as hard as I tried, I could not make a case for anyone not named Aaron Judge. Just to make it interesting, I'll throw another name out there. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is coming off a really good season a year ago. Could do it again. But as far as, I don't think he's going to have near the year that Judge will, and I think baseball will be forced to give it to Aaron Judge again. That being said, I did pick a bit of a dark horse. And I say dark horse, this is still one of the game's best players, but it's not Shohei Ohtani. Not saying that he won't or he can't. But my logic here is that, and I've used this blog post about the award before, I've used this kind of parallel before, that Nikola Jokic in the NBA won 2 MVPs in a row. And then he had a similar season to the season that won him 2 in a row. But they gave it to Joel Embiid, and then he won it again in 2024. And mostly, I think the reason why he did not win it a 3rd time in a row, and what would have ultimately ended up being 4 times in a row, is out of voter boredom. It wasn't that he had a worse season in 2023. It was that they wanted to change it up. Do I think it's right to take an MVP away from somebody who had an MVP season just to see something different? No, not necessarily. But that could happen with Shohei Ohtani. But statistically, the thing that I think is going to hurt him is he's coming off a historic 50-50 season. All 3 of Ohtani's MVPs came because we saw him do something we hadn't seen before. The first 2, we were so enamored with his two-way playing. For the 3rd one, he wasn't pitching, but he still did something in the game of baseball that we've never seen before. He had a 50-50 season. Now, coming into this season, he's going to return to the mound again, but it probably won't be until the middle of the season because he himself said, I feel fine, nothing's wrong. I just want to slow things down in my return to the mound because I want to take a breather from pitching and I want to focus on hitting. So, he's probably not going to put up the numbers this season on the mound that would warrant Cy Young consideration. And we've seen him win an MVP for going 2 ways while being in Cy Young consideration. But also, what's been mentioned is because he's coming back to the mound this year, I think there is a focus on maybe him not stealing as many bases. So I don't think he'll reach 50-50 again. And we've seen it. He did it. And so if he takes a step back statistically, which I think he will, and because of rehab, because of the things that he's focusing on this season, he'll have to. I think this is the year for it to go to someone else before maybe ultimately it reverting back to him in 2026 because he's just that good. So with all that taken into consideration, I am going to give it to someone else. And my pick, based on what I've seen the first week of the season, is Fernando Tatis Jr. He's hitting .409 in the first 6 games of the season. The Padres are undefeated. He absolutely torched the Atlanta Braves in the opening series. He's got 1 home run, 5 RBIs, and a 1.072 OPS in the first 6 games. And of course, this is the Padres' luck. They start 6-0. It's one of their best starts in franchise history, and they're still looking up at the Los Angeles Dodgers, who are 7-0. But because of the factors I mentioned, there's a chance that the voters don't give it to Shohei Ohtani because I don't see him eclipsing what he's done to win his previous 3. And when you've won that many in a row, like Jokic in the NBA, people are expecting to see you do more in order to earn it again. And because of his pitching rehab and because of him maybe taking it a little bit easier on the base paths, I don't see that happening. So just for the sake of parity and to make this video interesting, I'll go with Fernando Tatis Jr. as my pick for National League Most Valuable Player. Moving on to my AL and NL Cy Young Award winners. I did pick another dark horse in the National League for this one. I'll get to that in a second. First, my Cy Young pick for the American League, and this should be no surprise because if you've watched this podcast, if you've read the blog, you know how big a fan I am of this guy. My pick for AL Cy Young Award winner is Crochet. The Red Sox are off to a bit of a slow start. They're 1-4 after many people picked them to make the playoffs this year, maybe even win the American League East, with Garrett Cole being out for the season for the Yankees and Giancarlo Stanton. Nobody knows what's happening to him. That Boston is the sexy pick to win the American League East, and obviously their new ace is Garrett Crochet. I'm a big fan of this guy. I could not be more thrilled that he got out of the south side of Chicago. Garrett Crochet's first start, he went 5 innings, gave up 5 hits, 2 earned runs, struck out 4, walked 2. Solid start, not stellar, solid. And I think as the Red Sox stabilize, I think Garrett Crochet will be at the top of that rotation doing what he does. And so Garrett Crochet is my pick for American League Cy Young. The National League is where my dark horse comes in a little bit, because I'm a huge fan of this guy. He pitched really well a year ago. There are a lot of really good pitchers that I like in the National League. Chris Sale, last night as we're recording this, pitched a great game against the Dodgers. Ended up getting the loss because the Braves could only score 1 run. Again, they've only scored 3 runs in the last 4 games as we're recording this. So tough luck loss for Chris Sale there. Logan Webb, if you've been a listener or watcher of this podcast for any length of time, you know how much I love him, and he looked great last night. But my dark horse pick for NL Cy Young, I could go with Yamamoto in LA as well, but they have too many weapons there. I feel like there's too many weapons between Glasnow and Snell and Yamamoto and Shohei when he returns that they'll cannibalize attention for each other in the Cy Young race. So my NL Cy Young pick is Shota Imanaga of the Cubs. His first 2 starts of this season, he's looked really good. He's 2-0 with an 0.82 ERA in 11 innings, 6 Ks. He could bring the walk rate down a little bit, 6 walks. And he's only given up 3 hits in 11 innings. This is coming off a season last year where he was also really good. He went 15-3 with a 2.91 ERA, and he's picking right up where he left off, 174 Ks to just 28 walks. And I think he's going to pick up where he left off, and he is my pick for the National League Cy Young. But as I said, there are other pitchers I really, really like. Logan Webb, Chris Sale. Kodai Senga looked really good in his first start. Zach Wheeler is always great. I feel like the race for National League Cy Young is going to be a lot tougher than the race for American League Cy Young. That's just my opinion. While we're talking about the Cubs, Kyle Tucker is another candidate possibly for National League MVP. He's already putting up MVP numbers for the Cubs in the first week. He's the leader in every offensive category. Batting average, he's leading the team at .353. Home runs, he's leading the team with 4. RBI is leading the team with 11. So, also keep an eye out for Kyle Tucker in the NL MVP race, but I'm still sticking with Fernando Tatis Jr. because I watched him absolutely torch the Atlanta Braves over the weekend. Now we're moving on to the Manager of the Year. I am going to save Rookie of the Year for last because that's a bit harder to predict, obviously, because you just don't know what some of these rookies are going to give you over the course of 162. So we're going to start with Manager of the Year. And in the American League, I put a lot of thought into this because when it comes to Manager of the Year, if you look at the guys who have won in the past, they usually win because, not because you're a playoff team who does it again and again, but because you exceeded expectations and you found your way into the playoffs. And so I don't think the Manager of the Year is going to be Bruce Bochy or Snitker or Dave Roberts or Mike Schilt, Aaron Boone, because that would be, it's a bunch of guys who have been to the playoffs before, who have won World Series before, who have met expectations, who have gotten their teams to the playoffs. So this is 2 guys who I think teams could exceed expectations and do it again. First in the AL, Alex Cora. This shouldn't come as a surprise. The Red Sox were not good a year ago. They were fighting for a playoff spot for part of the year, kind of fell off at the end. They are expected to make the playoffs this year. Again, off to a slow start, but many people are picking them, including myself, to win the American League East. So if that happens, he is my American League Manager of the Year. The tighter contest, as I mentioned, because he's managing against guys like Brian Snitker and Dave Roberts and Mike Schilt and so many others. But as I said, Manager of the Year is usually, did you exceed expectations? And I think Bob Melvin of the San Francisco Giants is my pick for NL Manager of the Year. He's no stranger to the award, as he's won the award 3 times before with 2 different teams. He won it in 2007 as manager of the Arizona Diamondbacks, and he won it in 2012 and 2018 as manager of the Oakland Athletics. Now he's with the San Francisco Giants. He's been a manager with 5 teams: the Mariners, Diamondbacks, Athletics, Padres, and San Francisco Giants. And it seems like everywhere he goes, we talk about him as Manager of the Year potential. I feel like every time I look up and there's a surprise team, Bob Melvin is usually the manager of that team. And the San Francisco Giants, although I would like to see them do more to address their offense, have started the season 4-1. Again, this is the toughest division in baseball, and they have a 4-1 record, and they're 3rd in the division because, as I mentioned a minute ago, they're staring up at 2 undefeated teams in the Dodgers and the Padres. But this Giants team added Justin Verlander. Logan Webb is obviously a star in this league. Mike Yastrzemski. Matt Chapman has started the year looking really good. They are winners of 4 of their first 5, including 2 in a row against the Astros. This team, through the first week, is surprising. Wilmer Flores is playing really well. This rotation, I like it a lot, with Logan Webb, Justin Verlander. Kyle Harrison's going to be back soon. Hayden Birdsong made the club out of camp, and they're really excited about him. And they have a top 100 prospect in the minors right now at number 23, Bryce Eldridge, who's a first baseman currently in AAA, who is a 20-year-old, 6'7", 240 pounds. If this guy makes an appearance this season, because the Giants are competitive and he's hitting well in the minors, he's currently projected for an arrival in 2026. But if the Giants are playing well and he's hitting well in AAA, we could see him join that team. And that's just a behemoth, 6'7", 240. That's an NBA player coming to the San Francisco Giants. And I think Justin Verlander, at this point in his career, he's had a few injuries, but he is just stable. Logan Webb is a stud. Jordan Hicks is finding his form. Jordan Hicks is finding his form as a starter. He looked really good against the Astros the other night. And so if the Giants can grab one of those wild card spots, which, as I said, they're going to be hard to come by in the National League, they're going to be hard to come by in the NL West, Bob Melvin will win his 4th Manager of the Year award. And last but not least, let's talk about Rookie of the Year. As I mentioned, this is hard to predict because there aren't that many rookies that usually make opening day rosters. So you sometimes have to look into the future a little bit. You have to play fortune teller, but that's so hard to do with a player that does not have major league action yet. I thought about this one a lot. So let's start in the American League. I'm going to go, my Rookie of the Year winner in the American League is Roman Anthony of the Boston Red Sox. He's currently number 2 on baseball's prospect list, behind the Dodgers' Rookie Sasaki, and you're probably like, why didn't you pick him? Again, I think there's too much good on that rotation. They're going to cannibalize each other come award season, and it does seem like Rookie Sasaki is having a bit of trouble acclimating in his first couple of starts. So if he figures it out, heck yeah, he could be a massive candidate. But I think Roman Anthony, who's currently in AAA, but by all accounts, it seems like we will be seeing him very, very soon. He crushed in spring training. The fans already love this guy. I think he will be in Boston very, very soon. And no, I wasn't biased because he has a cool first name. I just think he's going to be that good. I also considered Jack Caglione, who's the number 21 prospect in baseball with the Kansas City Royals, because he also is a two-way guy, but he really impressed in spring training as a hitter. We will likely see him in Kansas City very soon, but he is in Double-A right now, so it might be a little bit longer than from when we see Roman Anthony. And because of how long it may take him, he may not be able to put up the numbers to warrant consideration for AL Rookie of the Year. So my AL Rookie of the Year pick right now is Roman Anthony, although the Astros are pretty high on Cam Smith, who made the team out of camp, so we'll have to keep an eye on him as well. My pick for the NL MVP is a bit of a toss-up. I'm going to have a 1 and a 1A, but I am going to pick from those two, so I'm not cheating and picking two. But it was between, for me, Drake Baldwin, the number 61 prospect with the Atlanta Braves, who made the team out of camp, and another player who made the team out of camp, Matt Shaw, a third baseman for the Chicago Cubs, who is their starting third baseman right now. Both Baldwin and Shaw are struggling a bit when you look at their average to start the season, but that could just be nerves, that could be whatever. For Baldwin, he has hit the ball really well and has gotten robbed. He could easily have 3 home runs already in his young career, but he's had them all caught at the wall. He was literally robbed of a home run by Jackson Merrill during the opening series against the Padres, and he's hit the ball hard, and much like the luck of the entire Braves team, everything they hit hard, they hit right at somebody. And so that's what Drake Baldwin has been saddled with so far. Just hard hit balls that just aren't falling to the ground. That's the nature of baseball. He's a rookie. That's going to happen. I do think those hits are going to fall. Chris Sale and the other pitchers on that staff have sang his praises. He is advanced as a catcher. He is advanced as at the plate as far as he doesn't swing it at balls outside the zone. He's got great plate discipline for a guy that just turned, I think, 24 this week. So I'm very high on Drake Baldwin. The only reason I throw Matt Shaw in there is because Matt Shaw will likely appear in more games than Drake Baldwin because Drake Baldwin is a catcher. He made the team out of camp initially because Sean Murphy was hurt for the Braves, and so he got the starting job out of camp because of that. When Sean Murphy comes back, it is expected that Drake Baldwin will stay with the club, but considering how much money they're paying to Sean Murphy, will Drake Baldwin be relegated to the backup role, or will Sean Murphy's struggles due to injury carry over from last year and Drake Baldwin unseat him pretty quickly? At this point, I think it's going to be the latter. I think Drake Baldwin, until he proves that because again, he's seeing the ball well. He's just saddled with some bad luck to start the year. Until he proves that he's not the better option, I think he will start. So it'll come down to how many games Baldwin starts for the Braves. But that's my leading candidate for NL Rookie of the Year, Drake Baldwin of the Atlanta Braves. Let me know in the comments who your picks for this year's awards are. With the season just being a week old, I hope your team is doing well. And until the next video, I am Roman Gennaro. This is Empire Sports Talk. It's a good day to go 1-0. I'll see you next time.